Zimbabwe is making preparations to host an extraordinary summit of the SADC heads of state from the 16th to the 20th of November 2025. The matter was discussed in cabinet today, with indications the summit will discuss issues of regional significance, including recent and upcoming elections.
The nation is informed that an extraordinary summit of SADC heads of state and government is scheduled to be held in Harare from the 16th to the 20th of November 2024, primarily to address emerging issues of regional significance. The summit is also expected to be briefed on political events in the region, including the recent elections in Mozambique and Botswana and the upcoming polls in Namibia.
We are joined by Ranga Mataire, the Zim Paper's group political editor, to discuss the forthcoming summit. Good evening, Ranga. Now, Ranga, Mozambique, Botswana, Namibia polls are on the agenda of the summit. Help us understand the importance of this agenda on the region.
An extraordinary summit is normally held in between the main summit. You will recall that I think since last year and even this year, they've had some extraordinary summit held. I recall that there was one which was held in Malawi, which was focusing on the humanitarian situation in the Cabo Delgado province and also the security situation there. It was chaired by President Chakwera. And then there was another one which was held in Angola, which was chaired by President Lourenço in Angola, Luanda. And that one was focusing more on the El Nino drought-induced situation in the region and looking at how the region can collectively work on mitigating the effects of that drought. There was also another one which was held, I think it was held virtually, which was focusing on the cholera situation. So an extraordinary summit is normally held when there are pertinent pressing issues that would need a collective input from all the heads of states in the region. So this is not surprising. It's unusual. It's not unusual. The regional fathers normally hold these extraordinary summit whenever there is a pressing issue that they think needs a collective input. It's normally held at the core by either the organ, the chairperson, in consultation with the SADC Secretariat. So it's not very unusual. It's very common. If you look at the history of SADC, you will also recall a lot more extraordinary summits that have been held in between the main summit, which is normally held in August.
All right. So could you further help us understand the importance of this agenda, the summit?
I think as intimated by Dr. Jennifer Msere, the Minister of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Service, the coming extraordinary summit, which is going to focus on the three countries that we've mentioned, Mozambique, Botswana, and Namibia. The common denominator among those countries is that is about elections. You recall that Mozambique had elections, and Namibia recently had an election as well, and there will be an impending elections in Namibia. Botswana had an election recently, and there will be impending elections in Namibia. So the common denominator among those countries is the issue of elections. And I have no doubt that in their wisdom, the regional fathers felt that they needed to convene an extraordinary summit, which is normally held in between the main summit, to discuss those pertinent pressing issues arising out of the elections that we just had in Mozambique, in Botswana, and the coming one in Namibia.
Konapo Ipapo ba ZTN Prime, DSTV channel 294, the place to be.